before we start this review, I'd be just curious for you to watch the clip, get back to me in the comment section and say, yes, there was enough information there to give us a bit of interest in the bike I was interested, or no, it was a total waste of time. You know, either way, it's up to you which way you go on that one, and you can sort of leave a comment there and I'd be, I'll answer you regardless of what you've got to say about it. And I was just curious whether or not you could watch a mini review on a bike for 2 minutes rather than let somebody talk to you about it for 20 or 30 minutes, and then you still go and look at that bike and it's a heap of shit. I just thought I'd just put this together and tell it as I see it, and could you get enough information to say, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind going and have a look at that bike, or no, it was a bloody total waste of time and I shouldn't have went to the channel and even watched it. So, you know, throw it down there, I'll listen, give you a comment back, no harm done. Hi guys, thanks for tuning into the channel today. I'm going to do my own personal 5-bike test and I'm going to put 2 minutes into each review. So first off, we're going to try this 2022 model Honda Grom. Now this one here, these put out 10 horsepower, and this is the latest model, so the difference how it separates the earlier model, it's got a 5-speed gearbox, and more importantly, it's got its own oil filter out there at the side, where the previous models never had it. Only thing I've done to this one, I've fitted it with the sports exhaust. I'll give it a bit of a rev now for you. Best thing about that exhaust, I think I only paid for the exhaust and complete pipe there. I think I only paid about 90 bucks for it, and it sort of sounds real good. Out along the road, this one it'll travel along at 80, 90 and on good flat ground, 100 kilometres an hour. The only drawback is the seat's a bit hard, and the seat height is pretty low at 765 millimetres. It's got LED headlight, and it's got single channel ABS, and that was the reason why they knocked them in Australia, because all the bikes had to come in with dual channel ABS. Now runs on 12-inch wheels, front and rear, and they're tubeless tyres. So we'll swing around this way and have a look at the other side. I'm trying to get out of the rain here on this one. So overall, it's a nice little bike, very agile to ride. You can swing it around real easy. Next up will be the NMAX scooter, and it's a nimble bike too, but not as nimble as the Grom. The Grom is really a bike you can toss around, enjoy yourself and have a lot of fun on. It's got the upside down front forks in gold too. So if you're in the market for one of these, I'd highly recommend one, and with that cheap sports exhaust, they really go pretty well. So if you like these sort of bikes and you want a cheap bit of transport to get out there and enjoy yourself, well, for the money you pay for one of these is good enough. So I think the 2-minute review is up now on this bike, and we'll go to the next. Okay guys, we're on the bike too, or should I say scooter. So it's a 2024 model NMAX 155. So these come into Australia at 6,250 ride away, and really nice little scooter too. I really enjoy riding these scooters, so if you haven't experienced, go for it. Now, more importantly, the seat height on this is 765 mil, but it is a little bit misleading because there's a wide spread there in the seat. So that's something to look at. Wheel size, 13-inch front and rear, weight 130 kilos, windscreen works okay. Overall a great little scooter as far as what it can do. Now this has just clocked over 1,000 kilometres, and I'm out here giving it a bit of a run at the moment because I want to do an oil change on it. Best thing about this one is it'll easily run at 80, 100 kilometres an hour now. So while we're at it, let's talk riding needs. With this particular model you get traction control, and that's switchable, so you can turn it on and off. It's also got dual channel ABS, and more importantly, you know, some people might like the idea of it's got a stop start system on it. I've never used that, but you know, it's there in case you want to do it. But main thing for me, traction control, which is handy, and also the dual channel ABS, which is a good safety feature. So overall, these ones run pretty well. I might just show you under the seat at the moment. It's got 23.5 litres of storage space. So there you go. I've actually just bought a liner for that and put in here, so it looks a lot neater now under there than what it usually would. I've just fitted new YSS shocks. So the stock ones with this bike, the seat wasn't too good, and also the factory shock absorbers were pretty bad. So looking at that, if you're in the market for one of these, I've had a few X-Maxes, 4-350s, a few other bikes. I'll wrap this up quick now. I think this one here virtually will give all them a good run for their money, and several $1,000s cheaper. I'd just like to say a big thanks for those guys that have subscribed to the channel after I put up my last clip. Now, if you want something a little bit on the different to look at, right at the end of this clip, I'll put a playlist of 2 sort of camping adventure type ones I put together, which I thought were really good clips, and there's no talking in it. It's just straight out riding in the scrub, having something to eat, putting up tent, all that sort of stuff, all the good stuff there, where it is really good viewing by a really peaceful creek, and I think it's real worth watching. Okay guys, we're on to bike 3 now, and I'm really giving these bikes a hammering, and it's a pity I've only got 2 minutes to put together something as good as this bike. So this is a 2024 model Suzuki V-Strom 250 SX, and these come in Australia at $6,500, and without a doubt these are the bargain buy you can get at the moment. There's no competition between any other bike. I think these are without doubt, $6,500 right away, no more to pay, the bee's knees you could say. Bike weighs around 167 kilos, it's got a seat height of 835, and more importantly for 250cc's, it looks way bigger than what it actually is. It comes with a nothing fancy in the riding age. You've got dual channel ABS for the learners or anyone that likes them. It's got a gear indicator there on the dash, and more importantly it's got a really nice 6-speed gearbox. The only issue I've ever had with when I've been riding this one, occasionally it's a little bit hard to find neutral. Now performance wise, it's capable of running 100 kilometres an hour with no effort whatsoever, and I repeat that for a 250cc, no effort whatsoever for one of these, and I'm pretty sure that it'd run at 110, 122 up if you were in a speed zone where you could travel at that speed. It's very little to no vibration that runs through the bike, and the engine is super smooth. So overall, you know, it is a really good package. Wheel size at the front is 19 at the front, and we've got a 17 at the back. Now this bike's got a few extras on it, like those knobby tyres I put on it. The rear racks are really good, set up with the crash bar system and sump guard. So, you know, it's fairly well covered up in that area there compared to a stock one. But overall, I think my time's up on this one again too, so that's my 2-minute review. And really, if you're in the market for one of these, go ahead and buy one. Really good bike. So bike 4 in my case is a 2024 model Honda GB350. So this one cost me $7,800 new. So overall, the only thing I got against this bike, I think it was a little bit overpriced for what it is. But once you get riding it and get used to it, it's a lot better than what you think. So on this particular bike, you've got a 19-inch front wheel, you've got an 18-inch rear. Naturally this is running custom tyres on it, so it doesn't come as stock with that. But on the stock side as riding aids, you get traction control, which is switchable, you can turn it on and off. You also get dual channel ABS, and more importantly for those younger riders, you get the slipper clutch, and you also get a gear indicator. Yeah, so when I first got this bike, I thought it was a little bit on the gutless side, and I also didn't go much on the seat because the seat was really a little bit on the hard side. What I did was pull that seat off, bought one of those gel strips, put underneath it, padded that, everything's right on that one now. Now, when I said it's a bit gutless, the power seems to be in the first 4 gears, and after that you go into 5th, and it's more like an overdrive. So believe it or not, I was talking to one of my subs, and he mentioned to me, he said, why don't you, his name's Brian Robertson, if you're listening, how are you, Brian? He said, why don't you pull that front cog off this one and put on a 13-tooth front sprocket. So after that mod, it made the world of difference for $30, and while we're at it, it's got a LED headlight too, and also indicators. So overall, you know, after I did that mod to it, it sort of picked up. It runs all right now. I think I put about 2,500 kilometres on it. It rides nicely. Overall, a good package, but you know, a little bit on the steep side. Okay guys, if you're in the market for a nice bike, you can't go past the classic 350 reborn in the Royal Enfield range. This is a 2023 model. I've had this bike now, yeah, roughly 1 year. So I've travelled 4,500 kilometres on it. Give you an idea, this is the Chrome version, so they start up at basic price $8,000 and then work their way through the colour range and get to this one, and these are 8.8. So this is what they class as a red chrome. You get naturally chrome guards and the chrome tank. More importantly, these bikes are, you know, highly reliable. So if you ask me how reliable these are, I find them a lot more reliable when I was compared to when I rode the classic 500. So if you're going to have an issue with this bike, if anything, it's going to only be a sticky speedo, and that's usually covered by warranty. That was a known fault in them. But overall, you know, you get a 20 horsepower bike, a 5-speed gearbox, a real good torquey motor, which is good to run along at, you know, up around 100 kilometres an hour once it's running. The running process is a little bit shitty because it takes a fair while to run one of these bikes in. And while I'm here, what a nice view I've got here at this place here today. So overall, you know, if you're after a good reliable bike, it's a classic looking bike, and you'll get really good feedback from people who come along and see it. They just like the look of the bike, they just like the old school, and they most likely think in some cases that you actually restored the bike. So if you look at it that way, if that's what you want, this is it. At the end of the clip I'll put up a playlist, and on it will have roughly 100 clips on classic 350s, and you'll be able to probably know more about them than what I do. So as far as that goes, best thing about them, they're not like the old days. It's a good reliable bike, very little vibration, and I think they're a pleasure to ride. So keep that in mind. And this is bike 5, last one out of the stalls.